Can we nominate 2 people? Should it be my guest or you want Sheldon to dance? I don't think I've seen Sheldon dance before. Does he usually dance? Oh, he likes Gringo. Wait, I'm lost. Okay, Sheldon.
Madam.
Can we? Madam.
Chai, why are you people setting me up for free?
We're not setting you up.
Yes,
We've heard you're a very good dancer. So let's do this. Drop, let's go.
Hey.
We'll follow your lead.
Okay. Is it like this?
Hey. I thought he was a dancer. Okay. You've been in the space for years. I mean, is it a decade yet or over?
Yeah, we've done it for 10 years, but with KSS it's been like 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's long enough for you to understand the ins and outs of the industry. When we say content creation, what exactly does it mean?
So content creation is with your Sheldon Studios. Content creation is what you see on our platform. It's basically the creation of audio, video, information, and the art of understanding the dissemination of what you have created to a dedicated audience. That is what content creation is about. So the vlogging, the blogging, what we do, the video content, the long form content, vertical content, all these things, infographics, and all these things are kinds of content that we disseminate in the news feed. The sole aim is to get a dedicated audience to distribute this kind of content that you have created to, so that at the end of the day, it's like an exchange of, you put out the content, you get their attention, and in return, depending on what you want to gain from what you are doing. For me, it is just, to entertain, and at the end of the day, get the revenue. So I exchange content for attention, and I monetize the attention to get my revenue. So that is what content creation is.
Did you understand this very well at the beginning of your career, or did it take time for you to have a better understanding of it?
It took some time for me to understand the rudiments and the concept of creating content. When I started, it was me having fun, trying to figure out what this is about. Because when we started, it wasn't that prevalent in the space that we wanted to, enter. So I had to learn, I had to read materials, I had to go online, watch people who were doing similar things, things that I wanted to do, and study them and understand what they like, the value proposition in what they were doing. That is how I was able to, figure out what I wanted to do. So there was no prior information for me. Okay. I just had to go out there and understudy people. There is pretty much enough information on YouTube and other platforms that you can sit and study and understand what you want to do. For like thumbnail creation, I learned how to create thumbnails from YouTube. So I wanted to know how to create beautiful thumbnails to attract people to click on my videos. So I went to YouTube and I understudied people in my space, and I got to know how to do it. Same as editing. So that is just me. That is a personal experience.
So you didn't have to go to school necessarily to learn this,
I don't even think, maybe we've moved past about, maybe right now they are teaching it, they have integrated into the courses, but I didn't study it in a classroom. I studied marketing, which later played a role when the brand started coming in, when it came to like us marketing content. But you just going to the classroom to study what content creation is about, I didn't do it. I studied it from the materials available on the internet.
And was money part of the main you were looking out for at the beginning, or was this just fun for you?
Oh, no, come to me. I always tell people that hunger was the main inspiration. Because if you had seen my pictures back in the day, you would understand.
Oh, we've seen them.
Yeah, you would understand why I was creating. Like every time you would come to my platform, there is something for you. We were never sleeping. I would call fish on weekends. Let's put out content. When people are resting, we are churning out content. On holidays, we are putting out content. I wanted to create value to the point that when it comes to the monetization of my platform, nobody will question what we are doing. So the value was to give them volumes of content to consume to the point that when the time comes for us to monetize, they wouldn't mind. And that was just that. It was money for me. The passion will come in later, but then I needed like I needed something. I needed to create something for myself. I needed
Yeah.
to chart a path for myself. Because where I come from, I don't think there is nobody going to be. I had to figure this thing, take care of myself, and take care of the people around me. So that is what motivates.
Doc, let me started as wanting to. What are some of the
Absent. My honorable minister, my Andy, by star. Let's put that for him. He's done so well. And let me say this. And could you started defining what content is? It has been with us long before now. When you were, I also happened to have passed through Ghana. So when you were Uncle Eboa for Dr. Bass, you know, writing or creating content, gathering stories. And I share a lot of similarity with. I published, I mean, novel. I started the same thing. I was for money. I published Dear Mama Why So 98. How many of you were still around in 1998? You see. And the driver was us, maybe Cheno Achibe, Sonyinka, they were writing because they were English scholars. I didn't do that because I was a scholar. I did that because I needed money to survive, just like you. I was creating, I was writing. Monitoring from 2002, I've done about, just like him. Creating, I've done about 15 stories for young adults, stuff like that. Back to your question, how did I start, or how that? Find a purpose. If you don't stand for anything, that brings about what Dr. Sheldon was telling me, asking me to have a personal branding. If you don't have a purpose, nothing will drive you. First of all, you must identify a purpose. The purpose can be identified with just one word. I wanted to make money. Purpose. I wanted to make money. Maybe you don't want to make money. You want to create payment. You want to create fun. You want to create you want to create whatever your purpose is. You must be able to identify it. And what about bragging? It's about personal branding. I've authored a book very soon. I'm going to launch on brand yourself. And it's very important. I identify four. If you like, I'll share. The fourth framework I've identified in my personal branding book is that for you as a starter, in order to develop a brand as a content creator, I don't like the word content creator. It's generic for me. But I meet you and ask, what do you do? I say, I'm a content creator. I go back and say, you are missing the point a bit. Have a niche. And I say that there is a lot of niches. Say it, riches in niches. Say it. Riches in niches. Rich and then niche. There is a lot of rich niches. When you find a niche, when you identify a segment, Bella has been there since coming from Ghana. She's
wow.
been and she said you wanted radio. And I listened to Bella's first. Said I never thought I would do TV, but she was doing radio at a point. Now she has to transition, and she saw it's a transition for him. But she owned the space. She identified her purpose that she wanted a broadcaster to share. So for you as a young content, identify your purpose. What do you want? What kind of content? Because content creation is so generic. And if you don't find a path, a niche, you're lost in the system. Joyce talked about there is environmental issue, there are social issues, there are legal issues. So find a niche. That when I identify myself, the second one is to audit. So you can identify yourself. Some people ask me in my personal branding class, they ask, Doc, I have so many talents, so many. What particular thing should I do? What comes to you when you and they tap you? You can just wake up and then go and do it without any effort. I was sleeping. I tell you, I thought it was Friday. But because I've been doing it for a very long time, I just woke up, put on my, I came here. It comes to me. Audit all the strengths that you have, the words that you've written, that should define you. That is I call them drivers. Them down and then audit them and find the one thing that you are passionate about, the one thing that is a gap that people have. Kwadwo is payment. If you want to come for your style, take you centuries. I like that number. I'm also and it was or whatever. Because you can't be somebody. You must be yourself. Own your destiny. God have created all of it for a purpose. That purpose. Audit it and find that purpose. After auditing it, then you go to express. And I say that if you didn't tell your story, others will tell it for you. And when you allow them to tell it for you, tell it in the way they like and express it. Expressing it. But you're shielding. And I don't like about TV. He fights with my like that. He's expressing it. Tell your story. Goodness, with credibility. Authentic. That's something new. And now we're here. Michelle. That's something. I see. I have to be very. So, where you think that there is a gap, the entertainment, another condition that you can talk about. That's so stories that people want to hear. When they started and he said 1957, it's about news, it's about politics. But when he started, I tested him, and I like that. I'll share this. You have forgotten. I tested him one day that I'm not a dean of. I want you to help me tell GIG stories. And then he WhatsApped me back said, "Look, my niche is politics. So I want to come for us to have a discussion to see how I can incorporate what you want me to do. Because I'm a young beginner, and I want to focus. And I love that. And I love that. He had a niche, and he was committed to that niche. And then express it, communicate it with. I always talk a lot about. Don't running around. Somebody came like, and I told whatever he. Days ago, I found a story that has changed the story, and that Dr. Sando is editing WhatsApp. So he's trying to control students from expressing themselves on campus. I called him and I said, "Look at the content. Is that what I told you? Oh, dog, it's an agenda. It's an agenda." Oh. That's why he told you. Dog, it's an agenda. You must understand. If you do agenda, and do you know what will sell you as a young beginner? Credibility. Credibility is gained by building what? Trust. Trust will bring you the money Kwadwo is talking about. Let me say something controversial here. Numbers will not give you money. I know I will be debated on this. As a blogger, numbers will not give you the money. Numbers will pay you the rent. But if you want to buy that house at East Legon, it is equity that will give you the house at East Legon. Did you get me? Numbers, write it down. Numbers will give you the rent. But if you want to own a Trasaco villa, or if you want to own an East Legon, it is equity. What do I mean by equity? Equity is the trust that you have built over time. This young man lost the trust. Now, there's another story he wanted to do. He came to my office. And I told my TA, he's there, junior. I said, "Who is there?" He said, he mentioned, "Drive me from my office." He did. I've been a facilitator for one PR, it's a public relations for so many years. So what IPR does is that when they are looking for a PR, they will ask the expert, "Where is sit in the interview?" I went to say that the young man is coming with his CV, with his check anytime. I had prayed that morning. I said, I want to commission. So I told them that this boy is not credible because he has lost the trust with me. So you see how when you start and you start chasing the numbers and you want to lie so that you get the numbers, you want to be controversial. Controversy, yes, I understand Kwadwo will not agree with me. Controversy will sell in his space. But I tell you that after the controversy, you have life, you have your brand. Somebody asked my good friend Dr. Sheldon's question about politics and people insult and they give them positions. I have spoken with MPP. They brought all their political communicators for 2 days training. I charged them good money. I took it into my pocket. When I finished, the director of communication said, "Dr. Tanto, I said, no, I can in my face, he told me, Richard, I said it on radio, Joy, so if you record me, he knows I'm speaking the truth." He said, "What he said is good, but I am fat." He said, "Why?" Because then NDC was in opposition. If you're able to put them the more, that is why you say, and surprisingly, when they come on Bella's show on TV3, sorry, I'm a teacher, I'm talking plenty, I'll finish soon. When you come on Bellamunde's show on TV3, and you are not punchy enough, you are not aggressive to be insulting the opposition, the communication director will not let you go for the second time. They will say, "Why? Why? Because you couldn't insult, you couldn't shout." I find it very sad. And let me tell you something. Those are in political spaces. Don't be like them. Don't insult your way to the top. Don't lie yourself to the top. Don't destroy people's brands and careers to the top, because it is short-lived. How many years is a political cycle? 4 years. If you within the 4 years, there is a reshuffle. You can be reshuffled. Then after political, haven't you seen a lot of politicians who now come beg you for monies? I have a number of political friends, both in the MPP and the NDC. They were in power, they were MPs. After 4 years, they have nothing.
So this is an interesting point that you're raising. And for the young creators, I'm sure some of them are looking at you with a side eye, because
Yes.
go across the social media
Yes.
pages of some of these content creators, and it's the controversy that gives them the numbers. You're saying it doesn't give.
It will pay you the rent, but it don't buy you the house
But
at
you
this
heard
level.
what Sheldon said. Not
Yes.
a com dinner.
Yet.
So at that point, he's not thinking about equity necessarily.
100%.
He's looking to pay his rent. He's looking to be able to afford equipment so
Yeah.
he can expand
Yeah.
his business. So that's why a lot of them seem to go more into the commercial aspect than let's build a controversy. When we're done and we have the numbers, then we can focus on creating a niche for ourselves.
Okay, very good question, and I know it will come. I know you will be sorting me in your head, but I'll still maintain my position. And let me start. I once taught a course, business communication, with Dr. Senanu, and I keep on telling people that if I want to communicate to you, Bella, that probably you wrote a memo to me as your boss, or you did a report and the report wasn't good, mistakes, grammar, whatever. Now I have a choice to tell you, you are very dull and dumb. Okay, school way. I started practicing from graphic communication group. Graphic, good short story. We are Santino, so allow me to miss the tree here. So when you write the story and you have mistakes in it, graphic, they will cut the story, put it on a notice board, circle all your mistakes. So in the morning you are coming, I tell the story.
Oh.
And that's how we were trained at graphic. They will giving it to you. You get that? But we stayed resilient and built our niches and our brands. The numbers would give you the money. You need the money. Didn't I chase the numbers? I have gone to Prempeh College from Yassam to every school. I don't know which school in Kumasi, Ashanti have that I didn't enter with my book, selling, crying. Because at that time, money was my driver. But I still had a niche. I still stayed true to something. Kwadwo is staying true to something. He's doing entertainment. And he's doing it well. Although he was creating so many contents, he was just creating them and lying about them. I know Kwadwo wouldn't do that. He was being intentional, gathering information, and then sharing them. My good friend Shatawale does 100 songs in a year. Kwadwo would not agree with me. He would say, it'll be a chan. But a year. You get that? So what I'm saying is that you can still have a niche. When I started, let me tell you my personal example. When I started, people were telling me, sex sales. Well, like you and I, when we were growing up, we wanted to read Mills and Boons. You know, that love, somebody kiss somebody. Because you are thinking about how your first kiss is going to be. Every young lady wanted to read a novel that is romantic. I cannot say no. I write sentimentals. I write the agony of the orphan child. I write the Kakayu boy. I write about the silent cry. And it takes a lot of time. But because you stay resilient and consistent to that niche, when people identify that when you enter a bookshop and you are looking for a moral fiction novel, nobody needs to tell you anything. It's an Ictando book. So at that time, those who were collecting the rent, the money for the rent, they were able to rent at Choco. But when people identified me as a moral fiction author, I bought a house at Trasaco.
Oh, wow.
So you see that if I have not bought it, I'm just making a story.
More fire.
So let me bring you in on this point, because then we need to understand what are some of the misconceptions that people have about making money online. Because he's talking about trying to stay away from controversy and building something.
Sorry, Bella, I'm not categorically saying stay away from controversy. You can even be controversial. Why is Shatawale's? I will defend Shatawale a lot of times. Why is his brand so solid?
Kwadwo won't be happy with
Kwadwo,
you.
yeah, I know. But Kwadwo still, he likes Shata. Shata is his friend. They are good friends. Why is Shatawale still relevant? Because he's lived on controversies. You can be controversial, right? Some of the things I'm saying here, because I'm saying them intentionally. That's my strategy, because I know bloggers are here. I also want to get visibility for brand Ictando. So I intentionally said, don't chase numbers. Tomorrow I want to see it on your headlines. People want to find that. That's why I also make my money. It's controversial, isn't it? But it is purposeful. It is meaningful.
Okay.
It's not controversial. That is degrading, demeaning. But if you go ahead to create controversies about, God forbid, somebody, whatever, I don't want to use those kind of examples, and you say them, and you think it's controversial. People will come and watch because Bella. People tell about you, you have zero controversies. Somebody asked me, how has Bella been doing this? You have very few or less controversies around your brand. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, go and ask her. Maybe today you tell them so that they do stories about them. Why? Because go into the controversies if you want to go, but do it with a lot of responsibility.
And let me ask Kwadwo about that, because your brand is also quite controversial. But like he said, do it with responsibility.
Yeah.
How are you able to balance the two?
So it gets to a point where personal conviction, sets in. And when I was on the come up, at some point, and this is like an introspection, right? There was a bit of recklessness in the work or in the pieces of content that we were churning out, because we were chasing the numbers, we were chasing the attention. But then you see the platforms that we do operate on, they have their guidelines, they have everything. You have to operate within these parameters. Now, as you grow as a creator, there are things that you learn to unlearn. And so this is where the refinement and everything comes in, because you cannot be seen as a voice of authority and certain dents attach to your image. So in the course of the work, and this is when you want to do it for a very long time.
Definitely. Equity.
There is you have to diversify your portfolio. You have to unlearn a lot of things. For example, there are things that I used to say, like when I was on the come up, I would put a camera on me and say, "I'm say with Jimmy Nasruma." You understand? Nasruma, like fear women.
Yeah.
Which was just a statement. We thought like, okay, this is like a funny statement that you can throw out. But when you progress in the space that we create our content, you understand that it has misogynistic.
To be an ambassador for the bank. Banking is serious. We have been with ABSA, so you know, banking is serious business. People's money. So they ask me, find an influencer for the bank for us. The COO walked in and said, now the person with the numbers who was flying at the time was Ezibanzizi, Jokoto, at that space. Those who are Sheldon will know. At that time, he was very big. He was doing adverts for almost every brand in here in Ghana. So the CEO said, let's go and pick, because he has the numbers, he's going to drive the numbers. I stayed back and I said, what is the purpose? What do we do as a bank? This is a serious financial institution where trust is the currency. If people don't trust, they don't bring their money to a bank. Let's see how many people trust him. I'm not trying to defame you. Don't go and say anything on your list. I'm not trying, but I'm telling you hard reality. At the end of the day, we settled on David Donto. Why? David Donto didn't have the numbers as compared to Jokoto, but the brand David Donto resonated with the purpose of the bank. David has been there 40 years. You know David Donto? Obra. How many controversial things do you hear about David Donto? How many? He has his own level of controversy, but I'm saying how many negativity, let me put it that way, do you hear about him? Bank needed a brand, an authority like that in the space that people can trust. It is not about numbers, it is about believability. If ABSA came to pick you because they know that when you go to do a market store and then you are standing at Kejitia or you are standing at Makola and you tell them open an account with ABSA believe that your word can be trusted by the market. That's why they came for you. They didn't come for you just because you have numbers. No. They came because you have a certain level of what? Believability. Now, if I have content, I have something to sell, I'll give it to Kwadwo. Why? Because people have come to believe in him. One time I was in a meeting and they were looking for a content creator. I wanted to get your name, but it wasn't coming on the spot. Papa, yes. Now, starting to conclude with this long winding stories of mine. To conclude, if you want to take this space very seriously, right? Numbers are good because you want the money, but chase the numbers responsibly. Yeah. Gain equity, gain believability. When you speak, people will believe in you because you have a track record. When 1957 now goes anywhere, why did he invite me here? Why is Bella? Why are you here? Why is Sedano here? Because they have equity. That's why they invited them. If you do not have equity, you don't build your skill set. You don't need to go to school. He said that schooling is not Unimark, sitting in the classroom. We are learning as we are sitting here every day, aren't we? You can self-teach yourself and can become that brand that will gain equity. That when you get brand, you form partnership with institutions. We gave David Donto at the time, it's about 12 years. I don't want to mention the name. We gave him so much money as an influencer. How many followers can give you that amount of money? Yeah. But because people believe in David Donto and we sign him on as the ambassador of the brand, it changed his life. He was using a small car. He bought a big car at the time.
I see. Now,
I want to add something.
Okay, briefly.
And it's about, and that is why we are having this conversation, right? There was a point in my life as a creator that I did something. I probably underestimated or underrated my influence and reach in the country. I remember when Adudi declared that the whole country were going to get free water, right? And as an influencer or as a content creator, someone who had amassed a lot of reach, I took it upon myself to create a skit that was in a bad light. And the skit was about me sitting in the basin, and I opened the tap on me, right? Just trying to make fun around the situation that if we have free water, this is what we are supposed to do. But then what I forgot to understand was that in the long run, or let's say in the next month, we are going to have people doing the same thing. I didn't think about all those things and I put the video out there. Yeah. I had to delete the video and apologize. And till today, it has become like a dent on my reputation because like when you engage somebody in a conversation about, let's say, national development or nation building and everything, and they reference you, well, you're not the one wasting the water. These are things that I've had to carry on my shoulder, or the ones that I've had to carry. You do not have to go through the same route. So that is why we have this kinds of conversation. That video might have gotten millions of views, but to what end? You think Ghana Water Company will sign me as a brand ambassador ever in this country? They will see me as a point of reference, as someone who wastes water. And I keep sharing these things because whatever you do, you see, the internet doesn't forget. Yeah. That till today, there are things like people reference some of the things that I have done or said in the past. And that is why I sit here and tell people, you do not have to be on that same path to achieve this kind of like, popularity or fame that we have in this country. You do not have to go through that route to get to like brands to sign you or get the numbers. You can create original content because I discovered that I could create content. Yeah. And when I got to that part, I'd done so much damage in the past that what I was creating now was basically not doing anything. But then I had to basically put in the effort to make people understand that beyond the control, and I will share my opinion and everything. But when it comes to the creation of content, you will not relegate my effort to the background because I do it and I do it like I am so good at it.
That's great. But do you think then that if there had been proper regulation in that sector, maybe it would have sort of controlled the kind of content that people create? Because right now, you go to an event and people are literally putting the phone in your nose. Excuse me to say. I remember just this weekend, I saw one Nigerian who had to tell, a blogger, enough. Because now their phone light was on and was literally on her face for 5 minutes or more.
Yeah.
So she looked at him like, okay, have you not had enough? Can you take it out of my face? And people were actually praising her for what she did. Because it's gotten to a point where people are getting tired of how bloggers and content creators are getting their images and their videos. If there had been proper regulation, could they have controlled something like this?
So regulation is needed, right? Traditional media, there is a certain level of regulation, right? But in the new media, digital space, whatnot, there's something we call like barrier to entry. Once you have a phone and you can plan the camera on people and trying to look and put I'm a blogger or a blogger. That is what is happening in our space. Now, I am not the one I'm not going to sit here and take food from anyone's table. I'm not that kind of person. I feel like everyone, the same way I was given the opportunity to thrive in a space, we should give people the opportunity to thrive. But because there is no barrier to entry and everyone can just create the ethics of the job, just push it aside and just they want to shoot their content or they want to put the camera in. For example, I have started this pro fitness challenge and it is production intensive, right? I would have to rent a stadium, talk to the celebrity, bring them on board, take my people from the studio to the stadium for us to go and handle production, rent drones and everything. Like a 10-minute action. So at some point, because we are announcing like the celebrities that I was going to run with, the bloggers would know, okay, they are doing it at Legon Stadium, and they will come there. Now, this is how they work. They record it, and it's on-demand content. Like they record it and they post it. Now, it will take like 2 action before I put the. By the time I am done with my post-production, the video post platform. So subsequently, I had to sack them from that. At the end of the day, I'm paying so much, renting the, bringing my. It is production intensive. It is labor intensive. Let me have the content. When I post it, you can pick it from. Said I was taking. And that is like the ethics of the job that people. If I am organizing a live event and I want you to do live update, because brands come to us that they want us to do live update, and we go there and we shoot it. That is fine. But when I invest in production and I say I want exclusivity and I try to and you don't understand, then the ethics of the job has the background, and we cannot continue thriving in the. For example, like I don't see how you see like bloggers go finals. Like there is a tragedy. Sorry, they go to these. There's a camera on the. Once again, there is no barrier to entry, but there is personal conviction. For me, I have made it a personal to talk about certain topics. Okay. I have made a decision. Minors. I put a minor in I blur the face. I put their faces. I blur it. That is my decision. I know I can put their faces. That the platform, the regulation, have community guidelines. Expose minors and be demonetized. And that is between you and the platform. I don't think AA or National Media Commission question you as to why you have used a minor speaker in your if me very much I'm not going to do it. So it is a decision that I take in this line of work to make. At the end of the day, I am working with national brands. What I am putting out there, they like it. Is it like brand worthy for them to associate? And I would actually encourage more of the people, chat that part because it makes the job beautiful. Create content, have fun. Like do not be bossed. The beauty of the thing is we cannot be bossed. The difference between digital new media and traditional. We cannot be bossed. We create content with wider boundaries. And with a phone, you can create content. You can sit here and create content, and it will reach people in the US and other countries. But at the end of the day, the personal conviction, the right thing with regards to the content you are distributing, that is what will separate you.
I mean, the thing is, unfortunately, we're human and we all don't believe in the same thing. So you may have personal conviction, but someone out there who's hungry and now starting his business and seeing how other bloggers are cashing in or cashing out based on virality, they would also want to do that.
I
so
can
that's
assure
why
you that
I'm
they are
asking.
not cashing in. It's just the numbers.
But you know how social media is now paying. So
Listen.
Meta is paying you, and it's based on the numbers. It's based on the engagements on your page. So if someone wants to put the camera on a woman's backside, because that's what will generate more conversation, they'll do it, because at the end of the month they're getting some $1,000 in their account.
You know what is funny, Bella? That content that you pan the camera on the buttocks of a woman, let's say walking, it is going to be demonetized.
Why?
Because once again, it is an explicit content.
Okay.
That is the Facebook platform, the YouTube platform, and the TikTok. So you cannot, you see, people try ways and means to navigate or circumvent the guidelines.
Yeah.
You cannot. Especially, you see, those days they use my YouTube. There are sometimes I'll put up a caption and they will tell me the caption was manually reviewed. So in addition to allowing AI to all these things, they are adding human touch.
Yeah.
You see, you might have navigated and gotten one content to go viral. Most of the content that you see, and I can give you an example. Scanty, that's one of my guys. He went to this festival, call it, excuse my word, Atupa Festival, right? And he shot content around it. In the video, you could see men and women dancing, more check currents in this man. Then he repurposed the video, put it on YouTube, amassed almost 2 million views. Now, such content sells, right? So people will be interested in Atupa video. Scanty made $9 out of the almost 2 million views.
Oh.
You know why? Because the content, they go with the guidelines of YouTube. So you would see the numbers. This guy is getting millions of views and everything. You are earning a paltry sum of money as compared to if you had done it right, if you had bled the bottle, you wouldn't get maybe millions of views. But at the end of the day, you get a significant amount of money from it. Once again, personal conviction. You can get the numbers, but you can also you can have all the numbers in this world and not have money, and not have equity, and not have any brand identity. That is just that.
Doc, in that case, what would you say with regards to regulation? Do you think that it is time that government gets its hands dirty in this space? Or should that regulation come from the same content creators, at least from the likes of, I see Nkonkonsa here. For those of you who don't know, the founder of Nkonkonsa News, Eugene is here, Mr. Eugene Nkansa. Maybe you can give us a wave. I see that he's doing something incredible as well, where he's getting new media together. So the association is what? New Media Association. And he's trying to bring some, what do I say, regulation in that space. So it's very important. Should that fall on the hands of government? And I see the NYA boss here as well, CEO here. Should they be the ones handling this, or should it be the same content creators?
Thank you very much. I was having the same conversation with Joyce when the program was just about starting. And I'm very happy. Let's put our hands together for Konkonsa. Konkonsa, you have done well. I was going to ask Kwadwo, I'm still learning the space, that whether they have an association, a body that regulates them. I belong to IPR. I belong to G. There must be a body. It's very important. That should regulate them. That should provide capacity, or the Americans will say capability. Don't say capacity. The capability building and stuff like that. So it's very good. I mentioned to Joyce that it's a very good space. But the digital space is like a double-edged sword. They are doing very good well. Now 1957 is something a big man, Mahama, will go there and check news. Very good. It's giving us now traditional news editors cannot, their gatekeeping has been eroded. You can't play that game. So now it's very good that you guys are here, you guys are doing it, and then just like Kwadwo has created art for you, and now he's advising and making sure that we do the right thing. I think the minister, Sam George, my very good friend, have a conversation. Now, this space, that's what I do with the Gen Z people. They are wild. Their mindset is so different from us. So you can't force them. You can't ship them. But you should have a conversation. I want to see the minister in here, like on the panel like this, Let's have a conversation with them. How can we make this industry grow? How can we make sure that it becomes ethical, at the same time creating value and then giving you the money that we want? So if the government can have that conversation, they themselves will be the champions and the advocates of that kind of ethical standards. But if it becomes, I want the government to come in, but if it becomes like the attitude of headmaster and the student, I don't think it will work. But if it becomes like a partnership, where government is engaging these young people, mindset is wild. Talk to them, they are looking and say, yes, sir. Or say, a agenda. You get it? So they must have that conversation with them. And then together with them, they can create something that will be, I believe that the space must be sanitized. And then to bring something. Either than that, you know what happened in Nigeria? One tweet, one story, civil war. Nobody knows what is going to happen next. The time is now for government to step in, to make sure that they have this, they begin the conversation now and now.
If that's the case, and Eugene, maybe at a point I'll let them pass on the microphone to you. I know that 1957 has an extensive reach, and so this would definitely get to the quarters that need to hear this. Kwadwo, I'll come to you briefly on this. If government needs to regulate and sanitize this space, top 3 things that you think they should do.
First of all, I'm not a fan of allowing governments of countries regulate new.
Well, let's say institutions. They're the right institutions that also
I'm not even a fan of that
oversee
because
some of
when
these.
you put that much power in the hands of, like I always tell people that, and this is not to cast any aspersion on anyone. If it was a Ghanaian who owned YouTube, I would be unemployed. I wouldn't have a work.
Why
I
do you
wouldn't
say
have a
that?
platform because I've seen instances where people or persons of repute work with like organizations in the country, and because they have dissenting opinions about certain subjects in the country, they are ostracized.
Yeah.
They are targeted. You understand? So this is how I operate. That is why I love the fact that the communities have their own guidelines. That is the point of democratization of content.
Okay.
Then, of course, I believe there has to be some level of adherence when it comes to rules. Because if you want to operate in a space like that, you need to go by some of these. I don't think one institution or one person should empower that much to be going about. Like I remember there was a time that we were having a conversation about a political figure banning Twitter or something like Instagram. Like I will block. Yeah, I don't want to hear anything like that. You shouldn't. No one person should have that much power. But moving forward, I feel like moderation of content, right? Okay. When you go on TikTok, I don't know what they are doing with moderation. I had an interview with an African rep from TikTok, and we're having a conversation about moderation. The kind of content or the type of content you see on that platform, sometimes you sit and go like, what are we doing? It's like the moderation is in the gutters, and everything qualifies as a content. So when it comes to like content moderation for platforms, I would want them to intensify the moderation. Like there has to be some parameters. Because, and you see, it comes with the monetization. If you want to actually monetize, the platform that you want to monetize on, they are looking at value. What is the value proposition in the content that you are putting out there? And that is what YouTube does. Like, bro, you need to give so much value to get $100. Mm-hmm. So if there is moderation like that, I feel like people will tailor content that suits, their audience and everything. But apart from that, the whole idea of empowering people to understand the rudiment of the game, to come from places of like no influence and gather so much, influence and become like voice, like, thought leaders in society. Mm-hmm. It pleases me. I am like a fan of that.
Okay.
I wouldn't want it to one person to regulate.
Well, not necessarily. That's why I rephrased my question and I said institutions. And I'll use America as an example.
Yeah.
See how invested Donald Trump was in TikTok. And, ensuring that space is sanitized, especially because of the complaints and the lawsuits that kept coming up from American citizens concerning the content that was being seen on TikTok.
So the government engages them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he pushed so much that they've had to now get into the conversation of buying TikTok from, the Chinese or the Asians, just so they can regulate that. Yeah. So not necessarily to control what you create, but at least there should be some guidelines at the top. And I feel like that's what happens in Asia as well.
Yeah.
You go on TikTok, and the kind of content that's created on TikTok in Asia is completely different from what we have here.
Yeah.
So you go on there, and the children are learning how to create things. They're learning technology and all that, DIYs. Whereas we come here, and it's one person insulting the other, is this person. But that's because in Asia, the government has some guidelines, overarching guidelines, that control how much content should be created, or what kind of content should be created by some of these app stores and whatever it is as well.
We can bring that
Should
back
we
to
not
our-
have that here?
We have a constitution in this country that will go against the freedom of speech and all. What is happening in China is not for freedom of speech. In certain countries where we've given or empowered government to regulate, there is no voices of dissent. I believe in voices of dissent. I believe in allowing people to have opinion. And if we put ourselves in a situation where, like in Uganda or Tanzania, a content creator was arrested dancing to a song that had
Went
political
against the
undertone.
president, yes.
You don't want to be in that space.
I get you, but what I'm trying to say is,
Yeah.
children are also on social media, whether we like it or not.
That is why there's platform guidelines. So
Exactly.
it is the duty of these to enforce it. It's not always about monetization.
Mhm.
All the times that politicians they've had conversations with, it is always money.
Mm.
What about the content that we are creating? What are the frameworks? What investment is the government actually putting to empower people? The China that you are talking about, there are creators who are being empowered by the system to create beautiful content, engaging content, educative content.
Okay.
What do we have here?
Which is why I asked you that. What 3 things would you want them to do?
I listed one, as I said.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to be very circumspect with some of these things. Because
Okay.
once again, I had instances where voices of dissent were stifled because someone had enough. But once again, moderation is a very important thing. I feel like it has to move beyond the monetary compensation of what someone can earn from Snapchat or TikTok. What kind of content are we putting? Is there some level of if there is moderation and you give the creative the freedom to create, I wouldn't have a problem. So all these things has to be like a stakeholder engagement, the government and the creators. It doesn't have to be one-sided.
Okay.
So you come in and apart from that, I'm not in it.
He really doesn't want to. Doc, I'll let you touch briefly on this, and then we'll wrap up shortly. What do you have to say about this?
Rehashing what Kwadwo said, and I made my earlier submission. There must be an engagement from George's department or his office, and then the content. If on the attitude of the headmaster and student,
It won't work.
It will never work. But I believe that we as content creators, all of us sitting in this room, all those who are also aspiring, we must take risk. When you finish, Google David Bohan made a very fun comment about me. I was jumping. I like Galamsey. Saying to everybody who I'm always chasing Galamsey. That's what my nickname. And he
Are we
asked me-
talking? You like getting
not
gold
Galamsey
illegally? Oh,
not
okay.
that Galamsey.
Okay, just checking.
And he asked me a question last year. I met him in SA. And he asked me, hey, Brother Tando, I see you on all Facebook. You have been jumping. You have been doing well. Oh. How much do you make in a year? When I mentioned it, he was just laughing. But Papa Ade, David speaks twice in a year. Makes 10 times that I make. I speak like 17 times in a year. It's not about the numbers.
Yeah.
It's about the equity. David came to Ghana here. I went to chase some Galamsey with him. They gave it to David. They gave David 100,000 for 45 minutes. How much is 90? How much are you giving me for speaking? They gave me 100,000. So it's about you taking responsibility. And someone who know this better than I know, and then they are marketers, traditional ones. The product is the mother of all the marketing strategies. If the product is not, you can do all the advert, you can do all the noise. People will look at it and they will not come back again. The product, you are the product. Build credibility, build knowledge, build expertise, build trustworthiness, build believability. Shatawale in that conversation, although he had the numbers, these people were foreign people. I went to Bigal, they were talking. It's Stoneball Shatawale. I kept quiet. And they go, they said Shatawale has the numbers. One person said, oh, it's not just about the numbers. And they said, aside the numbers, Shatawale has believability. Shatawale can tell all his SM fans, go and sleep, and they will sleep. They believe in him. Because he has been consistent in them with songs that they like. That makes we talked about controversy early on, but that makes it his controversial kind of thing very different because he also delivers value to his market audience. So please, whether Sam George, I wouldn't advocate that he should be a policeman over you. You have that engagement, but you yourself take your destiny. Have your personal ethics, have your personal guideline that will check you. And I tell you, you might think that the numbers you are getting $9, $10, but if you are consistent and persistent, you're making the $100,000.
Definitely. And finally, before we go, I wish there was time so we can get into more, but I just want to find out, because a lot of you here are looking to create content so it can become a business, right? But I'll start off with you, because you have now been able to build KSS into a business that pays salaries, pays tax, etc. At what point do you move for or make that major shift from just content creation to business? And how do you make that transition worthwhile?
So for me, when I started, I was like, creating like content program and other. But then the mindset was to create a media platform. When people call me like a YouTuber and everything, I tell you, the bigger picture is to create a media platform. It has to move on Sheldon. It has to move actors where I can go to 5 months. And the machine that we have built is turn out content a day around it. So it got to a point I made a business. Because at the end of the day, I am not that person that have a problem in sharing the spotlight with. I always tell people power, lecture, talent. That's why I don't employ people who are already made. I love the hard work of bringing like national.
Because you don't want to pay too much money. Because if I'm already made, I will decide how much you pay me.
KSS, you see, KSS is one of the media companies in the country that pays better. Like, you can put me on record. You don't joke when it comes to salaries and allowances. Like, we take care of our people. That's why we had like people who work with us for like 5 years, 6 years, and so. So it was just a business decision to move past Sheldon into a business organization. So that at the end of the day, it is not just about. And at some point, I felt like as a creator, it was boring and monotonous for the audiences. I just see it every day because I was creating content, everything. I had to make that decision to involve other people, same expectation, so that at the end of the day, they value. And once you are bringing people forward and you are building structures, you move on just a one-man business. Yeah. We had to bring in an HR, we had to bring in all these people, marketers, and we wanted to speak to big brands and let them understand the numbers that we had on our platform. So when all these people came on board, I think the transition was from just Sheldon to I was trying to figure this thing out. That was when the whole concept of new media is thriving started. I didn't want it to be about me. I didn't want content creation to be about Sheldon. It had to be about someone on the platform, something that we are creating, the volume of work we are putting out there. That was a business decision. And also, this is what I do with my life. I wake up and I go to the office and this is my 9 to 5. The same way people wake up and they go to the banks and other institutions. This is what I do. And if I want to do this thing for a very long time, I need structures. Yeah. I need people behind me. I need people that can actually share into the vision. That was when the transition came in. And yeah, today we are here. We are, once again, the biggest new media platform in the country.
I thought you put your hands together for that.
They know. Don't worry. You don't have to clap. Bro.
They don't have to.
They know
You're being modest, huh?
Bro, we too good.
Hey. Okay. Doc, final words from you so we can wrap up this conversation. And I'm sure there'll be an opportunity for questions.
Thank you very much.
Producers, is that allowed?
Young people, I leave you with one thing. Building your personal brand is very, very, very important. It enhances your personal development. It enhances your. What do I mean by owning and building a brand? Be known for something. In this space of content creation, instead of being a jack of all trades, today we're talking a little about politics, football, everything. Now, personal branding is not about bragging. It's not about showing your cars, showing your dresses. It's about telling people what you offer and what you are good at doing, right? So instead of going around and telling people I'm a content creator, tell them that I am a provider of, or I write stories that will bring about child development. That is the product, that is the value you give. Being just a content is too vague. So find a niche. I am a content creator that writes stories to entertain and to bring equity for musicians. Sell outcomes. Go to your Facebook, go to your LinkedIn, and then sell outcomes. The outcomes of the activities or the things that you do or you write. And I believe that once you are able to be very consistent, chase the numbers. I know you'll be insulting me in your mind for not saying that. So let me say this. Chase the numbers, it is all right, but make sure that you stay with ethical boundaries, the right thing. You build credibility, go for something, be seen, valuable, and pitch yourself very well. Thank you.
Be known for something, be valuable. Definitely. Very important. And please put your hands together for my guest for today. And then one thing that I don't want us to forget. Doc, maybe you can give us that line again. So you said numbers may bring the money, but equity brings value.
Brings value.
Definitely.
So the numbers will help you pay the rent, but equity will give you the Trasaco building.
So if you want a Trasaco, how many of us want Trasaco buildings? We all do, unless you don't. Not all of you who raise your hands. Are you not aspiring for Trasaco? Or you want to go beyond the shores of Ghana? Those are your aspirations. That's why they said about 67% of us are already leaving the country. I'm sure someone told me yesterday that very soon it will be 100%. I don't know how many of us want to stay. But you can make it here as well. So I hope you don't feel like you need to leave this country before you can succeed. If Kwadwo can do it and can hire people and pay them, then you can also do it as well. If Doc can speak 17 times in a year and make $1 million, what stops you? Because that's how much you made last year, right? 1 million. Hello, GRA. I know, right? But thank you both so much for speaking to us. And I think that we need to put our hands together for one gentleman here. I saw how he started, and I've been part of that journey from scratch up until now. I went on a hiatus for 2 years, and within that 2 years, he's built an incredible brand. And so please, let's put our hands together for Nene. I don't know where Nene is. There he is. Maybe you should come forward. Come forward. You have something to say about him, right? Nene has done such a fantastic job. And I saw how he worked tirelessly to build a 1957 news brand and also created a niche for himself. And if Nene can do it, you can also do it. So please don't give up yet. The criticism will come. The naysayers will be there and they're never going away. But if you are bent on creating something beneficial for society and for yourself, you can always do it. And so, Nene, we're so proud of you. Keep up the good work. All right. Kwadwo, you said you wanted to say something.
So he's a product of KSS. Yeah, he knows. He's a product. When he wanted to start 1957, he came to me in the studio that he wanted to understudy how we churn out content on demand. For 2 weeks, this guy would take Trotsky and come to the studio and come and learn how to edit. Bro, you could see that the guy wanted to leave the trenches. Like, I make red and everything. So, like, he understudied how we were churning out our content. And in a very short period of time, he has become like a voice of authority, a platform of authority in the political space. Something that took some traditional media platform years to build. This guy just came in and figured it out. Like, do you know how smart you are? You have to be to, like, yeah. So I always call him, occasionally I call him to big him up. Right now, he has become an inspiration because me too, I'm trying to do what he's doing and everything. But Charlie, big shout outs to you. Thanks for putting me on. And keep cooking, bro. Keep cooking.
Please let's put our hands together one more time for Bella Mundi and our panelists, Dr. Aitando, and of course, Kwadwo, Sheldon. One more time, let's do it together for them. Very important, very, very important. We're live on Facebook, just to let you know, and of course on YouTube. Go like and share. It's the Digital Media Creators Networking and Capacity building conference. And of course, I would also like to acknowledge the presence of the Chief Executive Officer of the National Youth Authority, Mr. Osman Ayaraga Esquire. Please, let's put our hands together for him. If it's here, please, let's have a wave. Let's have a wave. Welcome very much. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. And so now we are moving on to our next speaker. He's an honorable member of parliament, very well known. He's a deputy minority whip, and he's going to be speaking on parliamentary perspectives on media and digital communication. So let's get the podium ready for him as he delivers that. Well, thank you very much once again. So let's get seated. We're going to be wrapping up pretty shortly, so we can finish up with the photos and all of the pleasantries and all of that. So yeah, I'm talking about Honorable Jerry Ahmed Shuaib. Yes, he is a deputy minority whip. Please, let's put our hands together to him one more time. Doing amazing stuff in the Parliament of Ghana. He's going to be speaking on parliamentary perspectives on media and digital communication. Let's pay rapt attention to his message. Thank you.
Thank you very much, MC. I've been trying to look out for who the MC is. He has a very great voice. And I hear he's a digital MC. I don't know what that means, actually. It means that the person is undercover. But he has a very great voice. When I grow up, I want to be like him. The founder and team leader of the 1957 news. Ene Odomple, distinguished panelists, media practitioners, and digital creators gathered here today. Ladies and gentlemen, it's both a privilege and an honor to stand before this important gathering on behalf of the mighty Minority Caucus of Parliament. Conferences such as this bring in together the creative minds, journalists, and digital voices who shape public discourse are precisely the kinds of conversations our democracy needs. The theme before us today, parliamentary perspectives on media and digital communication, is not an abstraction or an abstract notion or a distant concern. It is the living reality of our democracy. Every headline, every broadcast, every post on social media now carries the weight of influence over public opinion, civic trust, and national unity. What once was confined to the printed page or the evening bulletin has become a constant stream of voices, images, and arguments that shape the way citizens see their leaders, their institutions, and indeed one another. This transformation demands that all stakeholders, parliament, media, and digital creators alike speak with clarity, act with responsibility, and remain anchored in truth. Words are no more mere words. They are instruments of influence. They can heal wounds or deepen divisions. They can aspire and inspire courage or incite hatred. In recent years, we have witnessed an alarming rise in the use of insulting, degrading, and inflammatory language in public communication. This is not the hallmark of a mature democracy. It is the symptom of a discourse in decline. Let me be clear. Freedom of expression is sacrosanct, but freedom does not absolve responsibility, so freedom is not absolute. When media outlets, digital platforms, or public figures resort to insult rather than argument, they corrode the dignity of debate. They replace reason with rancor, and they poison the well of public trust. As representatives of the people, we must call upon the media practitioners and digital creators to elevate the tone of communication, to reject the temptation of sensationalism, and to remember that civility is not weakness. It is strength. A society that speaks with respect is a society that listens with wisdom. The second pillar of responsible media practice is truth. Without truth, democracy is a hollow shell. Without truth, freedom of the press becomes a license to deceive. Every journalist, every content creator, every digital voice in this room must never forget that the first duty is to truth. Not to clicks, not to views, not to partisan gain, but to truth. In an era of misinformation, half-truths, and deliberate distortion, the media must be the antidote, not the accomplice. Digital communication has given rise to echo chambers where falsehoods are amplified and facts are drowned. It is the solemn responsibility of journalists, editors, and digital creators to resist this tide. The Minority Caucus urges media practitioners to recommit to rigorous verification, to impartial reporting, and to the courage of correction when errors occur. Truth is not negotiable. It is the bedrock upon which trust is built, and without trust, neither parliament nor press can serve the people. It would be naive to pretend that media can never be entirely free of bias. Every editorial choice, every headline, every omission carries perspective. Yet there is a difference between perspective and propaganda. Between bias that is acknowledged and bias that masquerades as neutrality. We do not ask the media to be devoid of opinion. No, we are not. We ask the media to be honest about its stance. If a platform leans in a particular direction, let it say so openly. What corrodes democracy is not bias itself, but bias disguised as truth. Speak the truth, even if it is uncomfortable. Declare your bias rather than conceal it. And above all, remember that your allegiance is not to party, not to profit, but to the people of Ghana. Digital communication has transformed the landscape beyond recognition. Social media platforms, online news portals, and instant messaging have democratized information, but has also democratized its information. The challenge before us is immense, and it's a challenge that the creators and practitioners in this room are uniquely positioned to confront. The mighty Minority Caucus recognizes the innovation and dynamism of digital platforms and the enormous contribution of digital creators to Ghana's public discourse. But we also recognize the capacity of these platforms to spread harm, avoid spreading harm. We call upon creators and platforms alike to act responsibly, to curb the spread of hate speech, to prevent the viral transmission of falsehoods, and to ensure that content serves the public good rather than private agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot convene a conference on media freedom and digital communication without confronting one of the gravest threats to open discourse in our time: the deliberate weaponization of state institutions against political opponents, journalists, and critics. And I had to call on Sheldon on this matter because about 2 days ago I saw that he had depicted the president and the Minister of Energy carrying transformers, and obviously to show that there is doomsday. So I was on an interview at Star FM, and I made mention of the fact that we should not go and pick the young man. A free press and free digital expression can only thrive in an environment where the rule of law applies equally to all citizens, regardless of political affiliation or editorial position. When state security agencies, prosecutorial offices, and judicial processes are selectively deployed to silence, harass, and intimidate, the very foundation of democratic communication is undermined. We have witnessed with deep concern a pattern of conduct that strikes at the heart of our constitutional order. Article 14 of the Constitution guarantees the right to bail for arrested and detained persons. Yet, members of the opposition have faced circumstances of arrest and detention that raise serious constitutional questions. Bernard Enchibosiaku, that we popularly call Chairman Wuntumi, Charles Edubuain, and Osei Asibe Entry have all been cited as victims of what the MPP's General Secretary, Justin Kwadwo Frimpong, described as politically targeted actions. Arrests designed not to serve justice, but to send a message. The removal of former Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Tokono has cast a long shadow over the judicial independence. The removal, and I'll take it again, the removal of former Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Tokono has cast a long shadow over judicial independence. When judges fear that impartial rulings may cost them their positions, justice itself is imperiled. A judiciary that operates under political pressure cannot be the guardian of anyone's rights, including yours, not that of politicians, nor that of journalists, and certainly those of ordinary citizens. We have equally noted the troubling use of nolli prosequi to discontinue prosecutions involving affiliates of the governing party, while politically targeted prosecutions against opposition figures continue. The role of a prosecutor is to serve justice, not to serve power. Beyond senior figures, the harassment extends to grassroots activists, social media commentators, and youth voices. The Bono Regional Chairman, Kwame Abronye Wafo, organizer Salam Mustafa, has rightly observed that the young Ghanaians no longer feel safe to speak freely. Yet the chilling effect is real and it is dangerous. To the digital creators and media practitioners in this room, you are not bystanders in this struggle. Every time you report fairly, every time you refuse to be intimidated, every time you give voice to those being silenced, you are defending the Ghanaian democracy. We stand with you. The Minority Caucus stands with you. State institutions, the police, the judiciary, the prosecutorial services must never become instruments of political warfare. They exist to serve all Ghanaians equally and without fear or favor. Parliament has a responsibility to say so and to act accordingly. A call to partnership. This is not a battle between Parliament and press, nor between government and the media. It is a partnership in service of democracy, in defense of truth, and in pursuit of a Ghana where every voice, however inconvenient to those in power, can be heard. The Minority Caucus pledges to protect the freedom of the press and the freedom of digital expression. We continue to pledge to use our platform in Parliament to hold account those who abuse state power. And we pledge to remain partners with organizations like the 1957 News, who are doing the vital work of creating spaces for this dialogue. As I conclude, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, media practitioners, digital creators, the words spoken in this room today and the content you create tomorrow will shape the Ghana of the next generation. Let us ensure that they echo with dignity, with truth, and with responsibility. The media is not merely a mirror of society, it is a maker of society. Digital communication is not merely a tool, it is a force. Together, Parliament, the press, and digital creators must ensure that this force is harnessed for good, that this mirror reflects truth, and that our democracy is strengthened, not weakened by the words we choose. Let us commit with resolve to a future where communication uplifts rather than insults, where truth triumphs over falsehood, where bias is declared rather than disguised, and where state institutions serve citizens, not silence them. In so doing, we shall honor the trust of the Ghanaian people, and we shall preserve the democracy that generations before us paid so dearly to build. Thank you very much, and God bless us all.
Thank you very much. We can do better than that. Let's put our hands together for Honorable Jerry Ahmed Shoaib, Deputy Minority Whip, and as he rightfully mentioned, representing the mighty minority. Let's put our hands together to him one more time. And I'd like us to have 2 questions for the sake of time for our Honorable Member of Parliament. Please let's get the microphones to 2 individuals who would be asking questions briefly. Please, let's keep it brief and sharp so our Honorable Member can attend to them accordingly. Thank you very much. I can see your hand up. Let's pass the mic to him.
All right. So, my name is Philip Miles. I'm from Main Podcast. So, I want to inquire something from you. You see, usually the fear is that when you come out with the truth, you will be blacklisted when a party is in power. You understand? So, it makes you, sometimes when you even see the truth, you don't want to talk about it because you'll be chased by a political party when power changes. So sometimes what we need from the political figures, I mean, especially you, that represent the mighty minority, will you give us your word on authority, and can we capture it in the records of Facebook and TikTok and everywhere, that when we speak truth to power, or when we report the truth, when you come, God willing, I don't know when, but God willing, when you come, you will not attack us. You will let the press breathe. It wouldn't be more or less like a hunt. You see, that is where we are coming from. So please, we also need that reassurance from the political end. Can something be done about that? Thank you.
Thank you very much. First of all, and I will tell you that I stood up to use the bathroom, and my conversation with him was just to let him understand that it is critical for you to understand that there is nobody who will forever remain in power. So whether it's CPP, GCPP, whoever you are working for, understand that you will not forever remain in power. So what is the right thing to do? To be as impartial, to be neutral, to be professional as possible. Because you see, that actually gives you a lot of mileage. That gives people the reason to see you as a news portal they can follow and believe in. And therefore, if you believe that you are reporting or working for a particular political party, that is where you have to expose your own biases by declaring same. That I am 1958, I work for CPP. So when I even come out with my reportage in the first place, you will not have the glance, or you will not have the spectacle from a different point of view, because you know I'm already working for CPP. But when it is your case that you would be working for a particular political party, know that you are not doing yourself any good. Especially when your style is always to damage and prevail on propaganda. It is always good to speak the truth. I mean, we are politicians, and we've been told that, but I do not believe that that's the case. If you are dealing with issues and you are not truthful to the people you are dealing with, it will definitely come back to you. So it is always good to understand that truth matters, irrespective of who you are reporting against or for. You should understand that your brand also matters, that your brand is the brand people will take seriously, that this is a brand. And I would not be here. I mean, I've had 2 funerals to attend, and all are very close relatives. I still had to leave one and come because of the kind of professional I have for Nene. That this is someone who is doing extremely well with his team. And they report on matters irrespective of whether it's MPP or NDC or CPP or GCPP. And if you want to talk about my government, 2028, we are coming to power. We shall come to power, inshallah. And why are we going to come to power? Because most of you are failing to even speak the truth, but the Ghanaian people are beginning to realize the truth. President Mama came with the major promise of stopping Dumso. As we are here, we are praying that Dumso will not happen. Or perhaps we are having a generator. As we are here, my brother will tell you, he may not be able to confirm that, but Galamsey is unprecedented. Electricity tariffs, they've increased by about 28%. The 24-hour economy, Yamutu. So all of these are reasons you should be seen to be reporting. I was more excited when I saw media practitioners who were reporting on Galamsey. They were making all the noise about Galamsey. But just because, and I will repeat it here, without me holding back in any way or form, that most of them are now eating at the table and they are learning table manners. So they have decided to shut up. Speak the truth. Wherever you find yourself, speak the truth. When there is weaponization of state institutions, people being arrested left, right, center, speak the truth. Let me also reiterate the point that I will not think that if somebody has gone foul of the law, you should not take up the person in the proper manner. But don't go and just be raiding people's homes without warrants and then be arresting people and then keeping them and then their lawyers cannot even have access to them. Speak the truth. It is the media. You have this democracy. You have this content creation or whatever we may have to call it because